Hello everyone, sorry for the delay in this video. In this video we'll discuss about GST for UPSC exams, GST for other competitive exams. I attended the Prime Minister's and Chartered Accountants meeting on the CA day and also the enactment day of GST, that is 1st July in New Delhi. There we received official material about GST. I have read that material and I will share with you the information which is reliable and which is required for you. Okay, let us discuss about GST. GST is an indirect tax levied by the Government of India together with the state government and union territories. It does not include Jammu and Kashmir. So it means it does not apply to Jammu and Kashmir. Except Jammu and Kashmir, it applies to all of India, including the union territories. And there is a breakup in GST in the form of CGST, SGST, and one more which you may have not known or not heard about. It is UTGST. CGST for central government, SGST for state government, and UTGST for union territories not having a legislative assembly. So these three types of GST are there, which are levied together in the form of some breakup, which you may be noticing in bills issued in restaurants or some other. Now, when did this GST start in India? Actually, GST was initiated by the Kelkar Task Force in 2004, where they suggested to fully integrate GST on national basis. But you know our government, how it works. So it was not implemented. Then the Union Finance Minister P. Chidambaram, while enacting the central budget in 2007-8, announced that GST would be introduced from 1st April 2010. But you know, there was a lot of disagreement. And finally, the NDA government enacted the GST Act by the 101st Constitutional Amendment Act, and it received the assent of the President on 12th April 2017. Then finally the NDA government, the Narendra Modi government, has actually enacted the GST by the 101st Constitutional Amendment Act. Both the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha passed this bill in 2017 in the month of March, and the state governments also enacted this bill, and the Telangana, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Punjab, Goa and Bihar are among the first states to pass respective GST laws levied by the central government but together with the state government and union territories. Earlier, how the GST is subsumed actually. Earlier we have excise duty, service tax, central sales tax, value added tax, octroi duty and some other taxes. All these taxes are subsumed together in the form of GST, goods and services tax. Now we have only one tax, that is goods and services tax. GST is levied on manufacture, sale, consumption of goods and services. So there are various tax slab rates for which GST is levied. There is no differentiation between the service tax and goods tax. They are together termed as GST. And there is something called input credit tax, which you may have to know about it a little bit. I will tell you in simple language what is input tax credit. Input tax credit is actually when a manufacturer produces a goods, he has to pay GST tax, and then it moves to the second person, that is the mediator or the middleman or the distributor, who is again going to transfer it to a retailer. He also has to pay tax because he has done some other work, like some other value added services is provided by him, so for which he has to pay GST. So he does not have to pay, he doesn't need to pay the full tax because earlier the manufacturer has already paid the tax. So he will receive some input tax credit. This is the concept which is known as input tax credit. Input tax credit. The next chain of the supply will receive the input tax credit, and finally the amount is collected from the consumers. So finally the consumers are the persons who are in burden. They have to pay every tax of the GST. So they are just the distributors, the retailers are just the collectors of tax from the consumers. Now, because of the input tax credit available to the suppliers, and the next chain of supply, there is no cascading of taxes. That is, you don't have to pay tax on tax. You get an input tax credit for which the tax is already paid. You don't have to pay again those taxes. So there is no cascading effect. Yes, of course. And the government has focused on generating revenue for the government. Earlier, a lot of revenue was missed out by the government. Now, in the form of GST, the government has targeted the various departments, various sectors to generate a lot of revenue. It is to ensure that the revenue is not missed out anywhere. So that what Arun Jaitley said that is going to specifically focus on the poor and other infrastructure works. Let us see what happens. So everyone has to register for GST. For a threshold limit of 20 lakhs, it is exempted. Now I will tell you in points the benefits of GST. The benefits of GST are creation of a unified national market, mitigation of the ill effects of cascading, and elimination of multiple taxes and double taxation, and also boost to the Make in India concept. Now I will tell you what is composition scheme under GST. Under composition scheme, you don't have to pay the normal GST rates, but instead of that you can pay another prescribed very low rates. This composition scheme is available for the assessee whose turnover is not greater than 50 lakhs. That is, the turnover is up to 50 lakhs. You can opt for composition scheme of GST. There are various rates of GST on products and services. I will tell you in categorized form. For essential items, it is 0%. For commonly used goods and services, it is 5%. For product service, which are basic necessities, it is 12%. For standard goods, it is 18%. And for luxury items, it is 28% plus some cesses. You know what is cess? And for restaurants, you may be asking that what is the percentage for restaurants? For restaurants, non-AC restaurants, it is 12%, and for air-conditioned restaurants, it is 18%. There is a central council for GST, which looks after this GST department, goods and services tax. We have the GST portal through which you can register for GST, and also GST practitioners, that is the chartered accountants, company secretaries, they can register themselves as GST practitioners. Now I will tell you in points overall impact of the GST. That is increased FDI, growth in overall revenue, simplified tax laws. Yeah, it is simple, of course. Increase in exports and also in employment. Also changes in the prices of the products and services. Definitely it is a very, very major impact of the GST. Then we have, yes, of course, the cascading effect of taxes are reduced or eliminated, and so this was everything about GST which you should know. GST is passed now and we are in the GST regime. Yes, it is going to be beneficial for India if it is properly implemented and if people are properly following it. Yes, it is going to benefit. Definitely it is going to benefit the government of India, and also if the government of India utilizes the money properly for the welfare of the state. Now you can write all these things in your GST, whatever you want to write about GST in an essay or whatever. So the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, together with more than 50% of the ratification of the state government, together with the assent of the President, the GST Act was passed, and from 1st July, the GST applies to whole of India except the state of Jammu and Kashmir. There are various tax slab rates, and we have in the breakup of CGST, SGST and UTGST. GST is levied on manufacture, sale and consumption of goods and services. This was all about GST, guys. Thank you. The first country to implement GST was France in 1954,